Last week, actor, comedian, and rapper Nick Cannon released a video on YouTube talking about black men and their preferences in mate choices. This video was part of a segment on Nick Cannon's YouTube channel called Cannon Class, and it featured a Nation of Islam affiliate named Rizza Islam. They had a very spirited conversation, and at one point Nick Cannon said this:
"White women are looked at as success."
And to that, my reaction was...
You serious?
Basically, Nick Cannon was saying that black men desire white women more because they look at them as success, or they look at them as individuals who have higher social status. Nick added to this later on in the discussion and said that black men during slavery time and during the Jim Crow era didn't have access to white women, so because of that, now they desire them more. So let's pick this apart. Yes, it is true that during slavery time, black men could not be with white women or else they'd be killed. Even the thought of a black man being with a white woman would cause them to be tortured or murdered. And yes, during the Jim Crow era, we have cases like Emmett Till, who was supposedly whistling at a white woman, and because of that, he was murdered as well. So we do have this very strained relationship over the course of US history. To say that fuels a desire for black men to have white women in the present day, I think is a stretch. And the reason why I say that is a stretch is because if you look at stats, over 70% of black men tend to marry black women, and around 88% of black women tend to marry black men. Also, when we look into the dating scene, it's not that clear. A study by Currington and colleagues that was conducted in 2008 looked at online dating, looking at the largest dating site at the time. And what the study found is that black people as a collective, both black men and black women, tended to respond more to potential suitors who were white. But this was not enough proof to show that blacks look at whites as having higher social status and therefore more desirable with dating. In general though, black men tend to have a more favorable view of interracial dating, but if we look at men as a whole, men tend to want to soil their wild oats. And what I mean by that is men tend to want to fool around a lot in the dating scene, whereas studies have shown women are more likely to want to be in a relationship. Now let's look at Nick Cannon's first point. Are white women viewed as success? Well, in a sense, yes, but not necessarily in dating. We see in the United States that white women are viewed as more attractive and more beautiful, and they're put on a pedestal. White women with blonde hair and blue eyes is seen as the ideal. Then we have incidences of whitewashing, that is when a black person or a person who is not white has their skin lightened in order to have a more fair or attractive appearance. That's actually societal standards. Me personally, I love dark-skinned women and I think they are beautiful. But we see in magazine covers, we see on commercials, sometimes actors and actresses have their skin lightened, and thus whitewashing. So yes, white is more valued. So back to dating and relationships. Obviously, I gave you those quick stats on marriage and I talked about dating a little bit, but let's look at successful black men and their wives. We have examples of very successful black men marrying white women, such as Kanye and his wife, and Michael Coulter, aka Luke Cage, and his wife. But we have a long list of black male celebrities, black men in high positions that actually have black wives. There's Magic Johnson and Cookie Johnson, there's Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, there's LeBron James and Savannah James, there's Russell Westbrook and his wife, there's Steph Curry and Aisha Curry, yes I know she's light-skinned but she's still black, Denzel Washington and Pauletta Washington, there's Samuel L. Jackson and his wife, there's Spike Lee and his wife, there's Chris Paul and his wife. A lot of black men married to black women. So now let's revisit Nick Cannon's original point. Are white women viewed as success? To an extent, I guess you can say. But is it because of this that black men want them? I say no. And then we go to slavery and Jim Crow, where black men weren't allowed to have white women. Is it because of that black men desire white women more? Maybe you might have examples of that in some places, but on the whole, I'd say no. Now, colorism. When it comes to dating, yes, colorism with black men, that is a whole nother ballgame, and we'll talk about that later. Trust me, I'm most likely going to write about that at some point. Speaking of writing, I actually wrote about this whole conversation between Nick Cannon and Rizza Islam on medium.com, so you can check that out and look at the article that I wrote on it to see this in more detail. Also, you can visit our Tit for Tat weblog, that's Tit for Tat at chemblog.wordpress.com. I'll put the name someplace here. The moral of the story is, if Nick Cannon has certain dating preferences, that is his prerogative, but he shouldn't be putting out this narrative that black men want white women more. I mean, black women have had enough drama in their lives. They already have to deal with black men being incarcerated. They already have to deal with black men being wrongfully killed by police officers, so they're dealing with a lot. That's not to say that black women should be pigeonholed into only dating black men, but because they deal with so much, we don't want a situation where negative propaganda is being put out there in order to make black men go away from them even more. Yes, we know that white women are viewed in high esteem in this country, but black women are just as important.
The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
Therefore, I am saying that black women are success, as we've seen by countless examples, as we've seen throughout history, as we see with the Black Girl Magic movement going on right now. Black women are success in all shades, shapes, and sizes. So thank you for watching this video. Definitely make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We hope you all enjoyed this. I definitely hope you all enjoyed this, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Chemistry Productions.